Hey everyone, in this video we are going to evaluate a piecewise function. So what we have in front of us is a piecewise function. The focus is on the word piece, meaning that a piecewise function, what it is pieces of functions, each piece modeling in a different way. Maybe you have a linear model, a different linear model, then you have a quadratic model, and you have a sine model, whatever it may be, and each one is assigned a certain domain. Now, the overall domain of the piecewise function does not need to be all real numbers. However, no two pieces can share any domain. They cannot overlap. One can pick up exactly where one leaves off without both sharing the number. Like you could include 2 at the end of one domain and then exclude the 2 and start right after it in the next piece domain. So we could either graph a piecewise function to evaluate it, be given the graph, or you could do it right from the equation. So how does this work? G of x, which is the name of our function, it's your output, your y value, whatever way you want to think of it. G of x, or the output, equals each of these things. When does it equal each of these things? Well, under different circumstances. Personally, I think inequality notation, kind of awkward to read. So x is less than -3 is another way of saying from negative infinity until -3 without the -3 included. This I like to read as x is, x is between -3 and 4, including -3. Or we could write it as -3 with a bracket, comma, 4 parenthesis. And the last one is when x is greater than or equal to 4, 4 with a bracket, comma, infinity. So it kind of shows you a little bit more. If you looked at it as a number line, this is just for anyone. I know when I was in high school, I don't know how I managed to get correct answers because I certainly did not understand piecewise functions for sure. Did not understand. And was definitely trying to fake it and not good. Now, I don't know if I'm going to regret this. Can you see the running through that orange marker? Yeah. Okay, so that one is from negative infinity until -3. So that means the x-axis or the domain, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, territory that part goes with is right there. Next. Oh my gosh, my puppo is a crazy little boy. -3, so the -3 is included in yellow. Ooh, I'm not really able to tell the difference, I'm sorry. And the -4 not included. So just to really reinforce that the yellow is included for that one. And then, in yellow and orange, not my smartest decision, putting those next to each other. And now the positive 4 rather is included for that. Like that. Alright, I could have done better colors, but what are you going to do? What's done is done, right? So that's just to explain the domain a little bit, alright? Now, from here, and then let's just reinforce that. That's there. Goes there. Okay. Hopefully you could see yellow. Now, those are your outputs. The input... The input, however, is the thing inside of the parentheses. That is the input, or it's your x. All right, both are the same thing, different ways of referring to it. And I kind of picture it like a quarter going in a gumball machine, like you put in the -3, turn the little lever, and what comes out. And the thing that comes out is your output, and to figure out what comes out, you gotta use the machine. And the machine, it depends, like if it's a -3, maybe the quarter goes in the quarter machine. Maybe a nickel goes in a nickel machine, whatever. You have to figure out where that coin fits. So -3, if you want to evaluate G of -3, you are not multiplying anything by -3. If you think that, you are very confused. This is not a product. you're very, very, very confused. Go for help immediately. But -3, you need to know which of these pieces lives in the territory where -3 is. So do you know which one? If you said yellow, congratulations, you're a winner. So -3 is included. X is greater than or equal to -3. So I'm going to plug it in there. So what do we do? 2 times -3 minus 1, which is -6 minus 1, which is, and God help us if we're still getting this wrong, guys, it's the end of the school year. You're reviewing for a final. 2 negatives, sure, they make a positive, but that's when you multiply. -6 minus 1. I don't know why I'm doing this, but some people need it. Let's look at how numbers work, shall we? Okay, -6 is where we start. Minus 1 means you go left 1 unit. And where do we land? -7. So your final answer as a beautiful statement could be g of -3 equals -7. That is a beautiful statement. It's a full sentence. It's a complete thought. Basically what that states is when x equals -3, comma, y equals -7. So that's like the mathematical symbols to represent that thought, or it corresponds with the ordered pair -3x, comma -7y. Also beautiful. We love it. All right, next. 5, g of 5. Which of these domains is where the 5 is, so we know where to figure out our output value from? If you said that 5 is in the green, you are correct, and you should give yourself a high five. So it's in the green. Now these are always awkward for people because they're like, where do I plug it in? Well, exactly. Where do you plug it in? You don't, you're done. It's -6. It's always -6. Nothing changes. So again, your full statement, g of 5 equals -6. That is your x, that is your y, okay? Excuse me. Next, g of -4. Let me just circle, or whatever. Goes with that problem. Whatever. I'm getting a little messy, sorry. -4. Where's -4 live? If you said orange, give yourself a nice pat on the back. X is less than -3. That's orange. So -4 goes in for the x plus 5. -4, you start there, plus you go to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you add 4, you get to 0. Mental shortcut. 1 more for 5. And where does that put you? 1. So, final statement, g of -4 equals 1. Okay? Or if you needed it for a graph, you would think of it as -4 comma 1, whatever. Context clues depends, affects how you're going to end up doing it. All right? This is going to be hard to read for anyone who fast forwards and just tries to get answers off the screen. Being a little not organized. Sorry, I'm really sorry. G of 0. Where does 0 live? Anyone? Any takers? 0 lives in the yellow. So we're going to fill in 0. Right? So what do we have? Now, just to pull you through the whole process, g of x, when x is 0, is equal to 2x minus 1 when x is equal to 0. That's true, right? And then that means g of 0 is equal to 2 times 0 minus 1. That means g of 0, g of 0 equals 0 minus 1. And finally, g of 0 equals -1. Finito. There you have it. Do you feel smarter at the moment? Maybe? Thumbs up if you do, if you can get this right. Don't be too confident because a lot of people mess these up. So might want to practice some more. So if I have any piecewise stuff for you to practice, I'll put it on the screen. Thumbs down if you hate everything about piecewise functions and will never learn to like them. But I don't think you should do that because nobody likes a pessimist. All right? Continue with the rest. Hope you feel smarter. Adios.